Hello, I'm Candice and I am a primary school teacher turned homeschool mum, and I have been making a series of videos just sharing some of the things I've learnt since being a teacher, being a mum, and now diving into the world of homeschool. So when I was a teacher, when I worked full-time, I had my own prep class. So I taught prep for a few years, and I've been thinking about so many people I know that are starting homeschool, especially with prep-age children. And I think that so often we can think about all of the learning, education, numbers, numerals. We can think about having to learn the alphabet, having to learn the letter sounds, the letter names. We learn about so many things. Basic adding, counting to 20, counting backwards, counting in twos. All these things start to happen when you have a preppy. But you may not know. If you've been in a prep classroom, you would know. But something that is a really big part of kids learning in school is actually their fine motor skills. And if you go into a prep classroom, you'll see often when there's rotations, so often classes might do literacy rotations, which are all literacy-based things. You will often find if there's 4 rotations, one of them will often be a fine motor skill. And it might not look like, some of them, might be, arranging letters or doing stamping with different letters, or some might be sounding out, some might be reading with a teacher. But you'll often find 1 or 2 activities, especially at the beginning of the year, is Play-Doh, or is making necklaces out of beads, or threading things, which it can look a lot like play. But I want to remind you that that is the best way that kids learn, is they learn through play. So I thought I would share with you a couple things that I literally just walked through my house, pulled a few things together. Just some things that are fun, number 1, but 2, so much learning can happen and are so important for their fingers. So, fine motor skills. So whether you're homeschooling or whether you are just a mum with little kids, my daughter is in kindy this year. She's going to a kindy, she's kindy age, and she'll be doing a lot of these things. But on days when she's at home, I'll often set her things up like this. So I'm going to share with you some kind of sensory activities, and a lot of these things you'll have around the house. There might be things that you actually have for your older children or even for babies, but you can really put them out and encourage your kindy age child, your preppy, your year 1, your year 2, these different things which are really, really good for fine motor skills. So obviously, kids are learning to write. This is called the pincer grip. So kids are going to get tired of writing really quickly, and even just doing the one handwriting page of tracing can really make their hands tired. So we want to strengthen those muscles. Kids, when they play, often use big gross motor skills of climbing on things and swinging and jumping, but it's important that we strengthen and refine those fine motor skills. So this is some of the things that you can do. You can get plastic tweezers. Now, these are literally out of my daughter's vet kit that she got for her birthday. Now, you can set up some different activities for your child to have to pick things up. So I have in here, this is my eldest daughter's bowl of crystals, which are very special to her, and gems and rocks. So what you could do is you could get them to pick them up. Now, the big ones you probably couldn't do. Little ones you can. And this, I bought something from Kmart years ago, and it was in these little trays, so I've kept them. And now you can put a few things together and you can actually do color sorting. So you could get your child, give them, colored rocks. I'll show you something else you can do this with, but they can actually sort them. So then you've got a combination of a fine motor skill activity, but also some color sorting too. I'm going to turn this around and I'll show you some of the other things that I've got here. Okay, so we've just talked about sorting and using these tweezers. You can buy them. Honestly, there are so many amazing toy stores out there, and they're probably like $2 or something. This is a sensory, let me open it up. This is some sensory play things that I made a long time ago. It was white beans and chickpeas, and I just dyed them yellow, and I added in all these gemstones. So actually my 2 youngest played with these yesterday. So my 18-month-old and my new 4-year-old just turned 4. They sat down together, and honestly, it was just, I just gave them that in some bowls. I put it in a big tub and they were just playing with it. But Judah, my 18-month-old, he was just getting his little fingers, and I gave them a tub and they were pulling out all the jewels. And honestly, this pincer grip, it's just such good practice, and it just makes it fun. It's a fun activity. You can put all sorts of, look, that's a piece of Lego in there, but they just think that's so cool. Okay, so sorting, pulling out, you've got things with tweezers. Honestly, you don't have to spend a lot of money on expensive things that you can find online. There are so many amazing toy stores these days that sell everything you would need, but if you're just a mum on a budget, there are so many things you can do. My mum has an activity that she actually has rice, just plain rice, in a tub, and she's put some, I think, beads in there. And my girls on the go over there, they often sit at the bench and they just pick through the beads. Okay, plugging flowers. Aldi has these like twice a year. My mum actually has a whole set, and we just borrowed some. And so this is with my travel gear. But yeah, you can take it with you, or the kids can just sit and make things together. I dyed some pasta, and they can do some threading, also some. Now, my daughter, who just turned 4, she was trying the other day. She was getting really frustrated. She couldn't do it, but she could use these big buttons. So she did this threading the other day. Great for her fingers. Again, these are a Kmart thing. I'm not sure what these are called, but these are really economical to buy. And kids can make such amazing things with them. So it's really, it's creative, but it's also so good for their fingers. Lastly, puzzles. Obviously, we know puzzles teach us so many different things, and it's so good for our brains, but it's also really good for our fingers, trying to put the little pieces together. So that was just a quick video to encourage you that you probably have plenty of things around your house that you could pull out, and so much learning can take place. So many skill practicing can take place. Cutting, there's so many cool templates online that you can download for free, where you have like a little troll head and they've got funny hair, and then your kids practice cutting the hair. Or you can get a paper plate and you can draw a funny face on it and ask the kids to cut some funny hair for it. There are so many things that you can do that cost nothing, that you have around your house. Put some pasta or put some rice in a tub, find some random beads, some random gems, put them in there, grab some, what are these called, tweezers, or just even their little fingers, and get them to pull out the treats in there. So that's my encouragement to you, that don't be caught up thinking that everything about prep, everything about early learning is about numbers or about shapes or about the rote learning when you're sitting and you're writing and you're tracing. But the fine motor activities are so rich. There's so many things that your kids can learn, and there's so many things that you can find that are cheap. If you have the resources and the time, if you have the money to go online, and there's so many great stores, you can purchase some great threading things. But honestly, Kmart's got a ton of stuff, and like these little scoops I got from like the bulk food source shop for like $2.50 each or something like that. And I showed you those beads the beans that I've colored. My kids, I give them these tiny ones, and it makes it go a little bit longer, but they scoop it and they love playing with it. So sensory play, fine motor activities are so amazing. There's so many benefits for it. And actually, my daughter, who's in year 2 this year that I'm homeschooling, when we were talking about our week again today and asking what things are important for her to have, she said, I'd like to do some sensory activities in there. So I was like, okay, we're going to do some. So I hope that's helpful to you. Bye.